It's an orange juice.
What's up everyone, this is OJ. First, let's talk about what the Rascals consist of. It's a 5 elixir card that has one beefy tank that has similar health to that of the bowler, but does very little damage with his dinky wooden sword. This damage is very similar in damage as a stab goblin. The stab gobs attack a bit faster, but their overall DPS is about the same between the two units. Despite the Rascal Girls hiding behind the big boy with 1600 health, they're no match for the legendary The Log. It'll plow straight through, killing the girls fast. The Rascal Girls pretty much have the same damage and attack speed as a magic archer. Basically left ignored, that's 2 magic archers worth of DPS. When you go head on with the Rascals with a mini P.E.K.K.A, you'll need to make sure to plant the mini P.E.K.K.A behind the Rascals. Since the girls are more fragile, they'll die in one swing. Each Rascal you take out effectively knocks out 1/3 of their damage as a group. If you put the mini P.E.K.K.A in front of the Rascals, it'll get annihilated by all of the gum. The Rascal Girls just deal so much damage. Lumberjack is pretty similar too. It's a very fast mini P.E.K.K.A. Plant him behind and he'll dice away at the girls really effectively. You'll need to know the optimal placements for each card. Like for a cannon card, if you plant it behind the Rascals, what'll happen is that it'll die before finishing off the Rascals efficiently. What works better in this case, since the cannon cart is ranged, is to plant it in the center to pull the Rascals towards you. This way the big boy won't really get any shots on the cannon cart. Here's a cool interaction. The Electro Wizard's Spawn Zap is enough to take out the Rascals down low enough so that when he split attacks, it one-shots both of the Rascals at the same time. A skeleton army stopped the Rascals. There are just way too many dudes in one place to stop them. Guards are kind of like a swarmy card too, and since they do have that shield, they're able to survive long enough to eliminate the girls first. Dark Prince deals 200 damage. He can take out the Rascals too, but he'll barely just survive. The tower will snipe him out in one shot. The Rascals do cost 5 elixir after all, so it might be a good idea to zap the Rascals just so the Dark Prince can one-shot the girls. This way, he'll be a lot healthier to counterattack across the bridge. Here's a shocking discovery. The bomber will stop the Rascals completely. His damage one-shots the Rascal Girls, so this is a perfect counter. Minion Horde can counter the Rascals too. If you hesitate though, and you plant the Horde a bit too late, the Rascal Boy will get a few shots in your tower. So you'll need to deploy the Minion Horde as soon as they cross the bridge to prevent any damage done to your tower. You can pull the Rascal Boy just as easily as a Knight because they have the same move speed and mass, so it's definitely worth it to activate the King if the girls aren't there at least. The big boy isn't as big as he seems, since he can be knocked back by anything in the game. Fireball, Mega Knight, Rocket, everything will knock him back. You can even use the Barbarian Barrel to kill the Rascal Girls and knock back the big boy. This is a perfect example of how weak his attack really is. He can't even take out one Barbarian. Bowler is probably one of the best counters to Rascals because the Rascal Girls die in one bolt and it knocks back the Rascal Boy. Another amazing counter against the Rascals will be the Valkyrie. Her really sharp and shiny axe just splashes everything, obliterating anything that stands in her way. My favorite counter to the Rascals would have to be the Ghost, since he's actually invisible. As he deploys, he won't take any damage. He one-shots the Rascal Girls and can take care of the Rascal Boy really well. He'll be able to counterattack and get a few hits on the tower left ignored. The Mighty Prince can take out the Rascals too. Like most of the other counters, make sure to plant him behind the Rascals. The Wizard is another counter if the girls are hugging the boy. His splash will kill them, but it's 5 for 5 and the Wizard's a bit more fragile. So I do prefer using the Executioner since he power creeped onto the Wizard. With his axe, he demolishes the brats too. P.E.K.K.A costs 7 elixir, Rascals cost 5 elixir, so it's actually not an unreasonable counter against them. The big Mama P.E.K.K.A is a bit slower to counter the Rascals, so that kind of in a sense gives your opponents more time to counter the P.E.K.K.A. The Mega Knight is super satisfying to counter the Rascals with. His spawn damage splats the Rascal Girls out of existence, and bonus points for actually being able to knock back the Rascal Boy as well. Sparky is a pretty decent counter to the Rascals too. as long as the girls are still grouped together. Sparky's blast will wreck the gum-chewing troublemakers. If you plant her too late though, her slow charge time gives the Rascals time to separate and she actually won't take out the Rascals. This also holds true if they have Zap. This gives the Rascals time to separate. All of a sudden, Sparky doesn't sound like a super reliable counter against the Rascals now, does it? 2 Fire Spirits can kill Rascals. Knowing that, you can actually plant a furnace on top of the Rascal Boy. If you wait until the girls are just about in range of the Princess Tower, the furnace will push it back. Perfectly timing this ensures you get 0 damage on your tower. Another building that's pretty good at countering the Rascals is the Mortar. A defensive center planted mortar is really annoying and effectively takes them out in one shot if they're still grouped together. It's worth noting that the Tesla is one of the few buildings that will not stop the Rascals. The boy is that tanky. If you use the log to take out the girls, you can pull the Rascal Boy with skeletons. He's just really slow at attacking. However, you can't do the same combo with Ice Spirit. It's just not enough. He is pretty tanky after all. You can split the Rascals in any direction with the boy and the girls going into the other direction. Which brings me to the ultimate counter, the Ice Golem. If the Rascals are split, you can actually kite them both. So you can kite the boy and the girl, tank them once they cross the bridge, and that is 2 elixir for 5. That is a massive positive elixir trade. If you can take care of the Rascal Girls, this card actually isn't too intimidating. You can even stop the Rascals by the drop damage of the Skeleton Barrel with Zap. It's all about the timing, but with enough practice, you can get really creative. Now Rascals on defense are amazing as long as the Rascal Girls are still alive. They can stop P.E.K.K.A with only the Rascal Boy being sacrificed. When you're defending against the Hog and you plant the Rascals to block the Hog, it'll effectively take him out, he'll only get 1 shot off. This also holds true for the Giant. The Giant is really tanky, but the girls are even stronger. As long as they don't have the log, it'll stop the Giant from getting more than 1 hit on your tower. The Royal Giant is a bit of a different case because he has such a long range and he is royal after all. He's still gonna get 3 shots on your Princess Tower, but that's still pretty decent. The Rascals are really strong. Not only are they strong, they're very fast. They can take out the graveyard really fast, even with a tank. It's almost like 2 Dart Goblins just annihilating all those skeletons. But with poison or freeze, get ready to take some damage if that's your only counter. It's important to split up the boys from the girls whenever you can. Like when you defend against a Royal Giant. This gives the Rascals some distance, so your opponent can't just use a bomber to counter the girls because they're clumped up. When you're using Rascals to counter splash units, it's best to place the Rascals beside the unit. This way splash units will only target the big boy. Whereas if you plant the Rascals head on in front or center, the splash attack will actually hit the girls before they're even finished deploying. If you're using the Rascal Girls to counter a balloon, it's really important to be mindful of the balloon's path. So never plant the Rascal Girls directly in the balloon's path. Stagger it so that they won't die to the balloon's bomb. While the Rascals have massive damage, they can actually almost completely stop a golem if they're left ignored. But try to avoid planting them directly in the golem's path. Its death damage will kill the girls. Instead, you'll want to plant the girls on the side or away from where the golem is going to explode. At least this way, they'll survive, and that's going to be 1 extra thing your opponent has to worry about and waste elixir countering. At the end of the day, they're really susceptible to poison just because of how slow they move. So while the girls do die to the log, it just makes your bait deck even weaker to poison, where you have to commit over 5 elixir to play this card. Treat them as 2 Dart Goblins with bad range. They're loggable, so you have to accept that they're easy to counter, but they can also 2-shot minions, so they demolish Horde if not countered immediately. If you're using it in a bait deck, try to treat them like Dart Goblin or Princess, so in that sense, never deploy the Princess at the bridge with the Goblin Barrel. That's just asking for a negative elixir trade. Bait out the log first. I think the Rascals will be a great addition to the Clash Royale universe. Even though the Rascal Boy's kind of a knight, and even though the Rascal Girls are kind of archers, I think it's a really cool way to have a new unit. How do you guys think this card will be used, and in what deck meta? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more quality OJ.